This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Choate, joined as always by Robert Stewart, the infamous DRStew32. Infamous.
Where'd I earn that?
You're over 1,000 followers on Twitter now.
Yeah, thanks for that little boost there.
You're
at the
welcome.
end.
More importantly, Arkansas lost its first series since 2019, SEC
Conference,
series.
yes.
First SEC series since 2019. Lost 2 of 3 games to Florida after looking very good on Thursday night. And I don't know, man. It's like you could hang your head on the starting pitching, and what lost you the 2 games starting pitching?
Yeah. It's just weird. Like we're still sort of trying to process this. Like we haven't, you and I, we haven't seen a series loss as students.
The Diamond Hogs Podcast has not talked about a series loss before.
Well, the end of last year, but
yeah, but an SEC series
right,
loss. That's
correct.
what we're talking about. We're talking about an SEC
Correct.
series loss, and we just haven't seen it as a podcast. In the history of this podcast, the Diamond Hogs have not lost an SEC series, and here we are talking about it. So we're treading
uncharted territory.
So we're gonna get to how it happened. We'll talk about weekend MVPs. Can you even do weekend MVPs if they lose?
I think you can.
Okay.
Maybe it's a little awkward, but
We're going to do it anyways. And then we'll take a look around the SEC here on the Diamond Hogs Podcast today. But before we do, got to always remind you that you can find us on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. That is hitthatline.com. Go to hitthatline.com. You can find a ton of Arkansas coverage. You can find Robert's recaps. You can find our podcast there. You can find a bunch of other podcasts, including the podcast for their daily shows, including the Morning Rush, Halftime, Ruskin and Zach. You can find those podcasts there as well. And you can also go to the Twitter. It's Hit That Line AR on Twitter. Robert's live updates, always a go-to for me when I'm not able to watch the game. And also, if I, for some reason, just wasn't looking, I look at his live update because I know that it's going to be correct. And then I tweet my live update based off of your live update. So
I appreciate that vote of confidence.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Hit That Line AR on Twitter, hitthatline.com, and type in Hit That Line wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find our podcast and all of your other listening needs. Also, HawgBeat.com, the HawgBeat YouTube, you can find us there. Robert pointed, good job. You can find us on YouTube. Go watch it there. Hit the thumbs up button. Comment, tell us that Robert looks stupid because we all know he does. And yeah, go to HawgBeat.com if you want to read Andrew Hutchinson's key takeaway stories. Sometimes Pete D'Alessandro, he has the key takeaway stories, and those are a lot more in depth than what Robert does sometimes. But
they don't ask me for a lot.
They don't ask him for a lot. Hutch always goes above and beyond with all types of coverage. So it's not just baseball at HawgBeat; it's football, baseball, basketball, anything you need Arkansas athletics related. Go to HawgBeat.com. As always, students, $11.95 a year. Email Andrew Hutchinson 413@gmail.com and get that deal. It is worth it. All right. Robert, you want to do an ad read? You want to talk about Barley and Vine, our watch party?
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, we hit some traffic right before we got to Bentonville, but we showed up. It was awesome. Had some of those $2 Bentonville Brewing Company Homewrecker IPAs. Had a great time seeing our friends Josh Teeter and David Martz, and huge shout out to Trisha and the folks at Barley and Vine for having us. That was a great time.
It was. I had a wonderful time, and it made things better that Arkansas won that game.
We even got a little shuffleboard in at the end there.
We played some shuffleboard. They had darts. They had retro video games. Did you see the video games?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys played Scrabble, didn't you?
I was not playing Scrabble.
Yeah, but your friends played Scrabble, I think.
I'll buy it.
Okay. Robert was too busy with his computer out doing all his work, but it was a great time, great atmosphere, and plus, didn't know this before we went, but you can order food from the first seat while you're at Barley and Vine. So we got some fire food. We got some cheese curds. We got the cheese curds. I got the Jack the Ripper burger. It was awesome. I think we're going to do that. We're going to start going there and watching one away game in the away series. We're going to go to Barley and Vine.
So A&M would be next, I believe.
I think so.
A couple of weeks.
Next, not this weekend, but next weekend. I never know how to say that because I say this weekend. This weekend is LSU.
This upcoming weekend is LSU, yes.
Okay. Anyways, Barley and Vine, they're located at 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. And they've got plenty of beers on tap and plenty in bottles and cans as well.
If you want to get a flight, they've got those. Had a flight with my friends.
Okay, there you go.
It was awesome.
New sponsor alert. Do a noise. There you go. Toll Sports Management. We are now brought to you by Toll Sports Management for this week. They represent athletes looking to make their mark both on and off the field. From NCAA to Major League Baseball, Toll Sports Management knows what it takes for full athlete representation and branding and marketing and everything they need. Mackenzie Toll, she's the founder. She's an athlete agent, and she currently represents 5 Razorbacks. That includes Michael Turner, Brandon Webb, Heston Toll, Isaac Bracken, and Matthew Maugray. She's great. She's wonderful. She's got some cool shirts. We're going to get some shirts here in a little bit. I think we got some Turner Time shirts.
Yeah, definitely check out that store because it's got some awesome designs in there.
Yeah. So the store, if you want to go to the store, it is storefrontier.com. All one word, storefrontier.com/Toll Sports. And there's some cool Michael Turner shirts. There's a Heston Toll shirt. There's a Release the Bracken shirt. I like that one. Turner Time shirts. Let's see. The Braden Webb shirt is cool. It's him robbing a home run. And then there's some koozies too. A lot of cool stuff over there. And what she's doing with these players is awesome. She's representing them and helping them out. And you can help your favorite players out as well by visiting Toll Sports Management. So like I said, storefrontier.com/Toll Sports. Very thank you for Mackenzie Toll and her sponsorship. Sister, I believe, of Heston Toll.
Did you say very thank you? Did you mean very thankful?
Yeah, very thankful. Sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Got that all out of the way. Let's talk Razorback baseball. So, as always, we're going to start with Friday's game. But before we do, let's just get it out there. So, Friday, they win 8-1. Thursday. I knew I was going to do that. Thursday, they win 8-1. Friday, lose 7-2. And then Saturday, 9-7 in what was just a crazy game.
It really was. I was working the Arkansas Sports Media Seminar. I don't know if any of you were there, but I had a great time working that with Ty Richardson, and it was a bit of a struggle to keep up with that game because it was moving so fast and 16 runs, and I was trying to do something else. That was a whirlwind, and boy, Zac Gregory almost was the hero. Yeah,
you leave Zac Gregory out. Oh my gosh, you leave Zac Gregory out of the lineup for one day, and he makes you pay for it.
I mean, that's in my mind, that's the reason they lost on Friday, game 2.
We have to talk about Zac Gregory. Does he have the brand that he has now because of us and the video?
And I have to think the answer is yes.
I'm not saying that what he is doing on the field is not important and it's not awesome and it's not great for him. What I'm saying...
That's exactly the point, is that it is.
It is great for him, but what I'm saying is maybe a thank you, Zac. Maybe come on the podcast.
Well...
that's a different story.
Yes, it is.
Anyways, so Zac Gregory on Saturday. What a game. But let's talk about Friday. So Arkansas wins 8-1. Story of the game is Connor Noland.
Yeah. 7 scoreless innings, 1 hit, 1 walk. He of course erased the leadoff single thanks to Michael Turner catching the runner stealing. 1 out walk in the 4th, and other than that, that's a pretty empty score sheet.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, it just looked like it was going to be a pitcher's duel between him and Hunter Barco. And then Arkansas scores 1 in the 4th, and then 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th.
I mean, even then, it still was.
It was, but Nolan was winning the duel at the time.
Handily.
And so then Barco goes out after 5, and Arkansas has 3 runs after 6, and then they have the 5-run 9th, which is how they got 8. But yeah, Connor Nolan, I mean, he's why you win that game.
Yeah, 7 strikeouts over 7 innings. I think he had 100 or not quite 100 pitches, 97. It was tough to track the pitches exactly that night because the Florida Stat broadcast, something weird was going on there, and
It wasn't just the stat broadcast.
The SEC Network Plus broadcasts, the rest of the series, those were not good as well.
Yeah. Should I get up and go behind the camera and show people?
As if it...
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, this is for the YouTube audience. Robert, you do play-by-play.
So, Connor Noland.
No, play-by-play of what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. So, Mason is currently shaking the camera. He's unlocked the little...
This is exactly what it looked like.
I don't know if you can hear Mason, but that's sort of what the broadcast was, or the two SEC Network Plus broadcasts. I assume like that was probably produced by Florida students.
I don't know. I was complaining about it all weekend.
Yes, you were.
On Twitter. And some people came at me and they were like, well, it's windy in Gainesville. And okay, that is fine if it's windy in Gainesville. But they built that ballpark. Last year was the first year for them to play in it, right? So this ballpark is 2 seasons old, not even 2 seasons old yet. And you're telling me they didn't take into account the fact that it might be windy where they set the camera. Are you serious? There's no excuse for that. If it's you can't build a ballpark and not think, well, what if it's windy and the camera starts shaking? No, you have to have that idea in your head when you're building a brand new ballpark.
Gainesville didn't just become windy.
And
in
also,
the last 2 years.
And also, every time you got the view from behind the plate, it was through the net, and you can't see through a net.
Right, and the shadows made it tough too. With they had trouble switching their exposure. I think that's what it's called.
And half the time, you couldn't even see what was happening,
right?
Because they had the camera on the wrong player, and so you couldn't even see the play developing. And we should have just gone to Gainesville. Honestly, we thought about it. We should have just gone to Gainesville. But this makes you very thankful for Razorback Sports Network.
Well,
and we are not affiliated with.
And also just being at the ballpark all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
That is definitely something I take for granted.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, where were we at? Oh, Michael Turner, 3 for 5 on the day, 2 RBI. Good for him, Turner time. I think, so Gregory goes 0 for 4 on Thursday, 2 strikeouts.
On base streak snaps.
Yeah, I think that was honestly my biggest takeaway. I think the first thing I said to you after the game was, that sucks about Gregory.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it feels like every time he came up, I was like, Mason, better get your video ready.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, I better.
Yeah.
And then it just never happened.
Okay.
But a lot of home runs that night. Chris Lanzilli had one. That was big. And then Caden Wallace and Braden Webb went back-to-back to lead off the 9th inning. So
Braden Webb now has 8 home runs on the year, correct?
Is that what it is? I think it is.
Did he hit another one on the weekend?
Home runs, Braden Webb, 8.
Okay. So, yeah. I mean, it was just Connor Noland. That was the story of the game.
Yeah, Friday. I mean, it was 8-1, but let's be real, that was a pitcher's duel, and Noland excelled. And his ERA is now well below 3, right? 2.61.
Yeah.
5-1, team leading 5 wins.
Oh, speaking of which, let me pull this up. This is from Andrew Hutchinson. I'm looking at my phone like an old man right now. Okay. I thought this was very interesting. I think that this would be great for our audience. Let me find it.
He's working on it.
Okay, here we go. You have 4 pitchers right here, Robert. Okay, pitcher A, pitcher B, pitcher C, pitcher D. You saw this.
I saw it. I don't remember whose stats were whose. I didn't ever see the resolution of that.
Okay, so basically, let's just put it this way. It goes. So pitcher D is the best pitcher. So I don't know how to say this on air. Should I just do ERA, WHIP, strikeout to walk ratio?
Yes.
Okay. Pitcher D, you have a 1.78 ERA, a .87 WHIP, and a 7.25 strikeout to walk ratio.
I don't remember what the stats were, but I do remember that pitcher D was the correct answer to that poll.
Okay. Pitcher C, you have a 2.66 ERA, a 1.28 WHIP, and a 3 exactly strikeout to walk ratio.
You said the first one was 7.25 strikeout to walk?
7.25, yes.
Wow.
Pitcher B, 1.63 ERA, so less than pitcher D, a 0.9 WHIP, right at there with pitcher D, but a 3.71 strikeout to walk ratio. And then pitcher A, 3.04 ERA, that's the highest, Highest whip also 1.31, and then a 3.86 strikeout to walk. So, do you want to hear who is who?
Yeah.
Okay, so pitcher D, who is the guy that you would pick, is Connor Noland.
Is that in SEC play? What are those stats?
And it's through their first 4 SEC appearances as an ace for Arkansas.
Gotcha.
So pitcher D was Connor Noland. Pitcher C was Patrick Wicklander. So Wicklander, 2.66 ERA, 1.28 whip, 3 strikeout to walk. Pitcher B, Isaiah Campbell, who is the number 2 choice. So it's Nolan, Campbell, that's your choices, then Wicklander. Then pitcher A, Blaine Knight.
So the last 4 aces.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff from Connor Nolan.
Through their first 4, Nolan is better than Campbell, Wicklander, and Knight.
And it feels like all those other 3 guys got so much more attention for the things that they did.
Yeah. And Nolan's just blowing them out of the water as far as, especially strikeout to walk. He's striking out 10.3 batters per 9 innings, and he's walking 1.42. It's pretty darn good.
It's pretty darn good.
It is. Okay, that was probably bad radio right there, but I feel like maybe people understood it.
Go look Hutch up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Go to his media section, and you can see the stats for yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
So, can we move on to Friday's game?
Yes, game 2.
This game.
An ugly one.
Hagen Smith, woof.
Yeah.
This is not the he's 18 but throws like a 22-year-old
Who's 18 throwing like he's 18.
Yeah, this was by far, like, so we had Hagen Smith versus Stanford, and now we have Hagen Smith versus Florida, and this was worse than Stanford.
Yeah, 4 1/3, 7 hits, 7 runs, 6 of which were earned, 2 walks and 1 strikeout. If you have a sub 1 strikeout to walk ratio, that is not great.
And you know what else isn't great? Arkansas loses this game 7-2, and they out-hit Florida.
Yeah. So we were watching this game together, and it feels like we weren't paying the closest of attention because this was another fast-moving game. We're trying to keep up with our stats and all that. But the strike zone was sort of all over the place.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest complaints from people all weekend was the home plate umpire, like every game was just terrible.
Right. I understand that it is hard to, adjust to an inconsistent strike zone, and it messes with your approach. But what was it, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position?
I'd have to pull it back up. I don't know.
That's not going to fly. I know it was 0 for, I think it was 0 for 9.
You're the stat boy.
I am the stat boy. 0 for 9, including 0 for 4 with 2 outs. Got the leadoff man aboard 3 times. He scored only once. So, yeah, it was a tough day for Arkansas on the base paths. Like you said, they out-hit Florida 10-9, scored twice, and left 9 guys on base.
But what was the stat of the 2 through 4 batters compared to the...
Yes. 2 through 4, Jace Borfin plugged into the 2-hole instead of Zac Gregory for some reason.
So that was another storyline.
Right.
Zac Gregory left out of the lineup, posted the video in his honor. Posted the video in the honor of Zac Gregory. Borfin goes 0 for 5
with a looking strikeout.
And he looked horrible in the field. Horrible. I mean, I remember one time he threw to third base and nobody was there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Jace Borfin 2, Robert Moore 3, Chris Lanzilli 4. Chris Lanzilli's on-base streak ended as well.
Oh,
right, the game after Zac Gregory's did. So.
I guess we need to have him back on the pod, man. Maybe that's the thing.
Hey, what happened?
Do you think that we just they have to consistently come on the podcast to be good? But okay, so it's Lanzilli. Turner's not doing that bad.
He's not.
And then Vermillion. And Vermillion's your number 2 guy out of the pen. So
Still got a sub 2 ERA.
So we're not doing bad. I mean,
Michael Turner's still your team leader in batting average.
And Lanzilli's number 2. So we're doing good. And then you look at it, Gregory is now he's hitting 296. He's got the best on-base percentage, right? Yes. He has the best on-base percentage on the team, 474. And
good for the brand.
Good for the brand. So the 3 guys that we have a relation to on this podcast in the lineup, not pitchers, aside
Three
from
guys? Turner, Lanzilli, and who else?
Gregory. I mean, we haven't had him on the podcast, but it's the brand,
Yes.
you know. So, Diamond Hogs podcast brand, man. Maybe it's because we're like picking the good guys too, you know.
It might have something to do with it.
But I mean, think about it. If they would have given us Robert Moore preseason, is he an All-American right now?
We did ask for Robert Moore. That was denied.
Robert Moore was our first request. So
anyway, 2 through 4, Borfin, Moore, Lanzilli, 0 for 5, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Add that up. 2, 3, 4 go 0 for 12. Not exactly what you need from the heart of your order. And then it was actually 7, 8, 9 who they were making things worth it down there, and there was no Zac Gregory. That's kind of crazy that the bottom 3 hitters went 6 for 12, drove in the only run of the game, scored one of the only 2 runs in the game, and Zac Gregory was not part of it.
yeah, Friday was an odd game.
Brady Slavens had a really good day. 3 hits, a couple of singles, had an RBI triple there in the 8th. Jalen Battles was 1 for 4, and then Peyton Stovall hitting out of the 9 hole in place of Zac Gregory went 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. So honestly, it was a good weekend for Peyton Stovall, hitting 8th or 9th. He probably had 4 hits total. Let's see. Yeah, 4 for 11, scored 3 times, 4 singles. So, and that was a lot better than it was just last week that I asked, does he need to come out of the 2 hole, right?
It was, and also, it was good to see Brady Slavens. He got 4 hits on the weekend. It's still not the Brady Slavens he saw last year.
Right.
But to see him hitting is an improvement on striking out 3 times a game.
Right. And I think the 2 hole might be cursed, honestly.
You think?
I was talking to you about this earlier in the week. I talked to Hutch about it yesterday. And yeah, if you just go game by game. Game 3 against Florida, Braden Webb goes 0 for 4. Game 2 against Florida, Jace Borfin goes 0 for 5. Game 1, Braden Webb's 2 for 5 with a home run, but that was against a batting practice pitcher. So let's keep that in perspective there. Peyton Stovall the week before was 0 for 13. It was rough. Yeah. So yes, I am under the impression that the 2 hole is cursed, and Peyton Stovall should not go back up there. Braden Webb, he has the 1 home run in the last 2 weeks, so I guess keep him there for now. I don't know.
That's something to keep an eye on. People tweet at us about the 2 hole this weekend. Say, hey, you guys were right about the 2 hole. Maybe we're wrong, but the stats back it up according to what you just said.
Certainly over the last 2 weeks.
You know what else is cursed?
What's that?
Robert Moore. What is up with Robert Moore? Who would have guessed that he'd be batting 248 at this point in the season?
Oh man, he's below 250.
Yeah, he is struggling at the plate. It seems like his go-to at bat is just like a foul out.
Yeah, he had a couple of foul balls to third base the other day. It was not particular. Yeah, he had in Friday's game, Brandon Sproat.
Also, how do you lose to a pitcher named Brandon Sproat?
Because he throws 97 miles an hour.
Someone texted me and said he was averaging he was giving up 9 runs.
Yeah, we sort of talked about him. He doesn't have the best stats, and yet I guess he was just a fireballer. And
Sproat had an ERA over 9 in conference play before Arkansas played him.
Really?
According to a source. I haven't done it myself.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it last time. He got tagged by Georgia.
Yeah.
Or one of the other teams he played. It wasn't a pretty outing, but anyway, Florida was in need of some wins, and they were playing like it this weekend. That's what it came down to, really. But Robert Moore is struggling. Led off with a walk in the first, and then double play, foul out to third. His other 3 plate appearances. So,
also the ball flew out of that ballpark. It was
very advantageous.
It was windy, but there were a lot of home runs hit this weekend. Do you have a total number on home runs hit this weekend?
I bet I can find it based on the stat sheet I keep. If my mouse will move, where's my?
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about between the 2 teams combined.
Right.
Find it for Arkansas first.
I've frozen my mouse somehow.
Okay. Well, I'll look here. So for Arkansas, they had only 4. Gregory, Lanzilli, Webb, and Wallace. And then Florida had 4. So 8 home runs. on the weekend.
Sorry, my mouse is frozen. That was really frazzling me.
8 home runs on the weekend combined between the two teams. Am I not seeing that right?
Lanzilli, Moore, Webb. I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. Wallace, Webb, Lanzilli, Gregory.
I already said that. I just said that.
Okay. Yep. 8. You're correct.
Okay.
You read it right. Sorry.
You're good.
Having a bad time over here.
Okay. Anything else about Friday's game? Arkansas loses 7-2. I mean, Florida scores 5 runs across the first 3 innings. That's just, you're not going to win when you're down 5-0. You know?
No. We do need to talk about the relief pitching. That was very good.
It was, yeah.
Gabriel Starks got 2 outs, gave up a hit, gave up a walk, didn't give up any runs. Let's see. Looks like he did give up an inherited runner.
He did give up an inherited run.
But after that, Cole Ramage comes in, goes 9 up, 9 down, strikes out the side in the first inning of work, 1 out single in the second. That was the 7th inning. Erases it on a 6-4-3, and then 3 bouncers in the 8th. And I mean, if the Razorbacks were going to come back, he certainly gave them a chance to do so.
I know, Ramage damage. Maybe you should issue another apology.
I'm not going to do that.
Do you need to issue another apology?
I'm not going to do that. He was losing in a 6-run game, and so there was pretty much no pressure in that outing. So once he comes up clutch in a close game, then we can talk about me issuing an apology. But
I think that we should leave it up to the listeners. If you're listening in this moment and you think that Robert should issue an apology, I think you need to tag him on Twitter, say @drstew32. You owe everyone an apology for blank. Fill in the blank with whatever you want, and let's just confuse everybody who doesn't listen to the podcast.
It's like I can't do anything right.
You can say, I need you to issue an apology for anything, and I will retweet it. Unless it's like really
over the line,
which would like put his career in jeopardy, then I won't do it.
And there's nothing that I've done that would do that. So
I know, but
don't request an apology.
Let's get creative here, and let's have some fun. Reminder: it's @drstew32 on Twitter, and tell him to issue an apology, and we'll get another Notes app apology from Robert. Okay, so Ramage damage. Good job, Ramage. You still lost the game 7-2. Doesn't matter. But good for Cole Ramage. I think
it's got to be a confidence booster.
It's a confidence booster, and he didn't inherit runners, which might be the key for Cole Ramage.
Correct.
If he comes into the game and there's nobody on base, I think he might be the best pitcher in all of college baseball.
And he also didn't let anybody on base. So like that's the thing too. Is he struggles to work out of the stretch. Didn't have to do that. No worries.
Okay, so we have found the key for Cole Ramage. Don't have anybody on base.
That's a really good key for any pitcher, honestly.
Yeah. So Cole Ramage basically can never pitch against Zac Gregory.
Correct.
Okay. I wonder what the stats are on Gregory versus Ramage in practice.
Intra-squads.
Yeah, that would be interesting to have. Okay, moving on to Saturday, not Sunday, Saturday's game.
Can we get an ad read in first?
Oh, yeah, we should probably do an ad read. Ad reads because we have a new sponsor. Okay, first, Barley and Vine. Go ahead.
So, Barley and Vine, great folks up there in Bentonville. They've got 32 beers on tap and a wide array of wines. They've got red, white, sparkling, whatever your heart desires. You can get food from the first seat. That they've got a great menu at their other bar over there as well.
They're like back to back. They're right next to each other too, so it's very convenient.
Right. TVs, you can watch whatever game you want. You can play shuffleboard. You can play darts. They've got board games. They've got retro video games. It's a nice little cozy space, and it's too bad it was so windy the other night when we went. They had the window open. It was a little chilly in there, but coming up, when things get warmer, definitely looking forward to going back and hanging out, having a beer there, and hopefully more of you will join us this time. 113 West Central Avenue, Bentonville.
Suite 103.
Suite 103.
Yep. It's a little confusing at first. It's like kind of back in an alley. You gotta find it, but once you find it, it's worth your time. You're gonna love it. Another thing that is worth your time: Toll Sports Management. So not only does Toll Sports Management provide you with some awesome Razorback t-shirts, but they also represent these athletes. So they have full athlete representation, branding, and marketing at every level. So that's Mackenzie Toll. She's doing it the best she can. She's partnered with a manufacturing design company for each player to use their name, image, and likeness to create personalized apparel. Those players are Michael Turner, Braden Webb, Heston Toll, Isaac Bracken, and Matthew Maugrey. Some of your favorite players in there. We need to see if we can get her in with Gregory and get like a Moneyball shirt or something. That would be sick.
Yes, it would.
I don't know how hard that is, but maybe I should shoot her a text and see if she can do that. But yeah, so purchasing this gear not only supports these players that you love watching, that you love rooting for, but it also helps them financially because they get a percentage of the sales. So go visit Toll Sports Management to find the shirts. It's storefrontier.com/tollsports. We're going to get our shirts and we'll show you what they look like. I got a Turner Time one. And what'd you get, Robert? Which one did you get?
I got a different Turner Time one.
Okay. Because Turner's been on the podcast.
Of course.
But I will say the Heston Toll one where he's pitching, that one's really cool. There's one with him pitching and it's got his signature on it. And then the Release the Bracken one is sick. It's a baseball and it's got a Kraken coming out of it with his number 59 on it. I like the Release the Bracken. So visit it, storefrontier.com/tollsports. Is there another slash in there? No, there's not. Okay, sweet. But yeah, very thankful for their sponsorship. Okay, Saturday's game.
What a ride that was.
What a ride it was. So Wiggins looks good through the first 2 innings, and then he gives up 4 runs in the third. And honestly, I'm surprised he stayed in. In the past, Dave Van Horn probably would have pulled him.
Right. But, Riopel?
BT Riopel.
Riopel. Okay. Yes, Riopel hits the 3-run shot in the third to make it a 4-0 game. Bases cleared. He gets 2 groundouts to third. I think once that happened, you're like, okay, maybe he's settled down. And with Arkansas responding with 4 runs in the top of the fourth, that probably helps as well. It's like, all right, my boy's got me. I can settle down a little bit. And for 1 inning, he did. And then
3 up, 3 down in the fourth.
Couple of strikeouts in the fourth. He did look great. And then a couple of bloops fall in the outfield and blast, and that's another 3-run home run.
So you have back-to-back days where your starters give up 7 runs.
Not ideal.
You're not going to win ball games when that happens.
That had been the key to them winning in the past is quality starts, and that was a couple of back-to-back unquality starts.
So listen to this now. Hagen Smith has a 4.54 ERA now.
It's all the way up there, man.
And Wiggins has a 4.81 ERA. Those 2 starts just completely demolished their stat line.
It really did. 4 plus for Jackson Wiggins. Let's see, it was Wyatt Langford who hit the home run in the 5th, so that was the 3rd hit of the inning. Dave Van Horn had seen enough by then. So 4 plus, 9 hits, 7 runs, all earned, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. I mean, you heard Dave say it after. Take away a couple of pitches, he looks a lot better.
Yeah.
It was a matter of, like you said, it was really windy out there. Balls flying a lot. Both of them went to center field, and he does a pretty good job of working around runners on base, but wind blowing out, a couple of mistake pitches, and just like that, you've got a 7 next to your name.
Yeah. So Evan Taylor comes in relief of Wiggins, goes an inning, gives up 1 hit, no runs, no earned, strikes out 1, didn't walk anybody. So Evan Taylor, you like to see that. There was 1 ball that looked like a bomb. I can't remember what happened. I think it was foul. But there was a ball that hit off of Taylor that I thought was gone. Or maybe it was caught. I don't remember.
There were a couple of loud outs, too. I remember the camera panning way up just to have Gregory or whoever it was on the warning track catching the ball. They were close a lot, too.
But okay, so Florida takes a 7-4 lead into the 6th, and then Arkansas puts up 2 more runs. So
we didn't even talk about the 4 runs for Arkansas.
Oh yeah. Well, we mentioned it,
right?
But we didn't talk about what happened.
Let's see. How did the first one cross? Jalen Battles RBI single, and then Peyton Stovall walks. Bases loaded for old Zac Gregory, and what does he do? drops a double into right, gets on base,
3
drives in
RBI.
3, ties the game. So that was the first time, not the last time. I should note that Zac Gregory both tied the game and chased the pitcher from the game.
Yep. So you're at a 4-4 game after the top of the fourth.
Bottom 5, Wiggins gives up that other home run, so now it's 7-4. And then the 6th, they get a couple of unearned runs. That was nice. They needed those. Jalen battles with a double, start things off. I didn't see this was a play. I didn't see the error that Peyton Stovall reached on. It says E3. He ended up getting to first, and Battle scored from second. I don't remember the play, but that happened. And then Robert Moore walked with the bases loaded, and then Chris Lanzilli struck out with the bases loaded. So 3 pretty costly runners left on base there.
Yep.
But once again, in the 8th inning, Zac Gregory to the rescue.
Zac Gregory comes up,
Mammoth shot.
ties it with a solo bomb, 7-7.
Did Van Horn say that with the wind it went 450 feet?
I could not listen to the press conference. I was on the road.
I want to say that's what I heard.
Okay. Possibly. We'll have to go back and listen to it. HawgBeat.com. It's on HawgBeat.com. The YouTube.
Don't listen to which press conference was it? Friday? The one we watched together?
Friday, yeah.
That was a nightmare.
It was. I posted it anyways, but there was. So I didn't like solo out the speaker, Dave Van Horn. So like when I asked my question, you could see my face, and you were sitting next to me, and I had, how I have my little backgrounds on Zoom. You could see your face like pop in and out just in the bottom corner. It was so funny. That was a good part about that press conference, but okay.
We didn't quite get the answer we were looking for.
Yeah, so I asked a question. I was like, so you went with Borfin over Gregory.
I wanted him to talk more about Gregory, but he talked about Borfin.
Yeah, and I was like, just what'd you think of Borfin and what went into that decision? And I wanted him to say why he decided to bench Gregory. I mean, he gets on base for 22 games in a row, doesn't get on base one game, and you're not going to play him?
Right, and then Christina or somebody asked about him yesterday, and he was like, oh, yeah, he's in the lineup now.
Yeah, there you go. So, so Gregory ties it up in the top of the 8th with the home run.
Ties it and chases the pitcher for the second time in the game.
Yes, and I think it's important to note before we talk about what Florida does in the bottom of the 8th. So Tigert came in the 7th, right? 6th or the 7th?
He had pitched the 6th and the 7th.
Okay, so he pitched the 6th and the 7th. Looked really good.
It was a rough first inning of work in the 6th there. Did walk a couple of guys, but strikeout, fly out, pop out, no worries there. Strikes out the side in the 7th, and you're like, okay, well, if he's cruising right now, if he's coming off of, 11 outs or whatever he got against Mississippi State the week before, roll with him.
So, yeah, I think you've found your limit with Tigert as of now. It's about 2 innings.
Well, and he did sort of shoot himself in the foot there. There was the bunt to the pitcher to lead off the 8th. Threw that ball away. Didn't need to. I think Van Horn said he probably didn't realize he had as much time as he did. It was scored as a single, advanced to second on an error. I don't know if Tiger could get him with a good throw, but at least to have a runner on first and not second would be big there.
Yeah.
Because then a sacrifice bunt moves him to third, sacrifice fly brings him home.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate that that's what happened. After you tie it up 7-7, you're high off of that, and then Tigert comes in, gives up 2 runs, and then you have to have Vermillion come in, get that last out.
And honestly, it seemed like they had a pretty fresh bullpen, all things considered, right? Because Vermillion worked 2 scoreless innings on Thursday in Game 1. They only had to use one bullpen pitcher. Cole Ramage is probably not available after throwing 3 the day before. Gabriel Starks is the only other guy they used, so you don't necessarily need to stretch Tigert. I guess you bring him in because you're most confident with him in the 6th. It's sort of like Cops last year, as soon as you're ready for your guy, like turn to him. But nobody's going to be Kevin Cops, so you can't expect that kind of longevity,
That's what I think it is. I mean, I think that they only trust a limited amount of guys, which at this point I think that is the fatal flaw of Arkansas baseball the past 2 years, is that you only trust so many guys out of the bullpen. I don't know how to fix it, because it's like they're getting guys out in the midweek and they're throwing them, It's just you don't trust them in high leverage situations.
Well, right. I mean, you look at a guy like Evan Gray, who comes up first on the ERA leaderboard of those who are not qualified. The only 3 who are qualified are the starters because they've thrown enough innings. Evan Gray is first. He's only gotten 5 outs on the year. He's been in 3 games, but he's not allowed to run. So, like, when does he get a chance? Does he get a chance?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. The way I look at it is, I mean, Ledbetter, he hasn't pitched in forever. Trest, it seems like they've trusted him at times, but he's only thrown 5 2/3.
Right. Trest had a big inning in the midweek against UCA, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. But I mean, it's UCA. It's hard to.
Well, sure. And Heston Toll too. He bounced back. You know, I asked Dave about that after that game. See, are we going to see him a little bit more? He said, "Yeah, probably. Not this weekend though."
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because you look at it, they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys out of the bullpen who have thrown double-digit innings, and that's Vermillion, Tigert, Taylor, Ramage, and Adamiak, and that's mainly because Adamiak started a couple games.
So you said Vermillion, Tigert, Taylor, Ramage, and Adamiak, yeah, and 4 of those guys had thrown already.
Yeah.
So
and then
yeah.
Starks is at 8 1/3. And then, let's see, Ledbetter, but he started a game. Toll, 9 2/3.
Toll's 1 out away from time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Somebody's got to step up and be that extra guy because that depth is going to kill him. I mean, ideally, you get better starts from Smith and Wiggins going forward.
Yeah,
you don't have to rely on it, but you need that option.
Yeah, you give up 7 runs. Your starter gives up 7 runs. You're probably going to lose the game either way. But you look at a game like on Saturday where you make up the 7 runs that your starter gave up, and you have a reliever give up 2 because you don't want to pull him out because you don't trust the next guy. Like they trust Vermillion, but it's like they want to keep him in because they're confident in him. But you have to realize or recognize, I guess, he's running out of gas. Something's about to happen. Sometimes he can't, but I mean, I feel like we've come to realize, at least with Tigert, like. Probably 2 innings. Probably that's what you need right now. They've said that they want him to be a starter at some point, or he could fill maybe a long relief type thing, but I don't know. They were going to lose that game either way.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it's hard to win and also give up 2 3-run home runs in the same game.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And what else? Let's see. In the press conference yesterday, I think it was Bob Holt asked.
Saturday. As in yesterday.
Yes.
We're recording on Sunday, like always.
Game 3, post Game 3, Bob asks about is it a relief to have the winning streak out of the way? It's not like a point of pressure anymore. And Van Horn, Van Horn's like, we have not mentioned it one time in the locker room or to the players or whatever. If it were up to us, we'd just win every SEC series. So they're not thinking about that stuff. They just want to win. It's a learning moment. You know how it feels now. You know you don't want to experience that again because, I mean, how many guys are still on the roster from 2019, the last time that they lost a series? Not many.
Yeah, I'd have to look, but I know what you're saying.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it, but also last year, I mean, Van Horn said that they wish they might have lost a game before they went into postseason play, just to kind of get that off your back and recognize, hey, we're human. We can lose games. All right, let's go. And so maybe it is a good thing moving forward, especially with LSU coming to town.
Right, to get that out of the way on the road against a non-division opponent, that's probably not the worst thing in the world.
No, especially on the road. You don't want to lose a series at home.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk. Let's do some ad reads first. And then we'll get to weekend MVPs and look around the conference.
Barley and Vine, 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. Great place to go watch a game. We did it on Thursday. It was a great time. Going to go back probably in a couple of weeks for the A&M series. Hope to see anybody who wants to show up. They've got a great selection of beers, 32, I believe, on tap. Red, white, sparkling wine. Get whatever you want. They've got a great menu. From next door at the First Seat Pub and Grill. You've heard us rave about them before, so it's a great game day atmosphere. A lot of bar games, shuffleboard, darts, and board games, retro video games. It's a great experience, great atmosphere. Had a great time up there, and we're looking forward to the next time we go back. Again, that is 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville.
All right.
Thank you to Barley and Vine.
Thank you, Barley and Vine. And also, thank you, Toll Sports Management. Toll Sports Management represents athletes looking to make their mark both on and off the field, from the NCAA to Major League Baseball. They know what it takes for full athlete representation, branding, and marketing at every level. That's Mackenzie Toll. She's the founder and an athlete agent who represents 5 Razorbacks, as we've mentioned them: Michael Turner, Braden Webb, Heston Toll, Isaac Bracken, and Matthew Maugray. She's partnered with this manufacturing design company so these players can use their name, image, and likeness for personalized apparel. Like we mentioned, the Turner Time shirts are sick. The Isaac Bracken shirt, Release the Bracken, I love it. They've got the koozies, like a little jersey koozie for Bracken, a cool Heston Toll one, and a Matthew Maugray one as well. Great shirts. She's got one with Turner's face on it in the state of Arkansas. The Heston Toll ones are really cool. I like the Turner Time one. The Turner Time one is the one that I picked out. So go visit that website at storefrontier.com/tollsports. Okay. Weekend MVPs. I'm going to go first.
Do it.
And for me, it's pretty obvious. Zac Gregory.
Yeah.
Zac Gregory. He only goes 2 for 6 at the plate, but he hits the home run Sunday, hits the double Sunday, the 3 RBI double. So he gets 4 RBI on the weekend, all of those coming on Sunday. Let's see. He scored 1 run. He had the double. He walked once, struck out twice. So, his stats aren't going to be as much compared to everybody else because he didn't play Friday. But I think he's my MVP for 2 reasons. 1, because of what he did on Saturday. 2, because I think it takes a lot to sit on the bench and then to come back and prove that you shouldn't have been on the bench. Zac Gregory, you're my weekend MVP at the plate.
That's a good one. I respect that. This one may be a little bit out of left field, but I'm going to go with Peyton Stovall. He was 4 for 11 on the weekend. Mentioned that already. He reached base in 3 more plate appearances, had a walk, reached on an error in Saturday's game, scored both of those times, and then was hit by a pitch on Thursday to lead off the 5th that ended up becoming a run. That's the thing, is these guys at the bottom of the order, now Peyton Stovall is one of them, are doing an incredible job of getting on base, setting the table for guys like Caden Wallace and Robert Moore at the top of the order to drive these runs in. That's just a sign of a complete lineup, and like I said earlier, two hole must be cursed because Peyton Stovall comes out, immediately gets 4 hits. Wasn't the flashiest player in the field by any means, but I'd say he did the dirty work this week, and I will give him my weekend MVP award for that.
Okay. My weekend MVP on the mound is going.
You're going to take the easy one?
Huh? No, I'm not going to go with Nolan. I'll let you have, because I got Gregory.
Okay.
So I'll let you go with Nolan. I'm going to go with Zebulon Vermillion. He closes out Thursday's game. Yes, he gives up a run.
Doesn't matter
because they won 8-1. So proved, hey, I can come in, I can close a Thursday night game after Nolan. And then they went to him on Saturday when Tigert was, in trouble, and he came in, got the out. So I think that he's shown that this team can trust him out of the bullpen when at times maybe they couldn't in the past. And so he goes 2 1/3, gives up 3 hits, run, it was earned, walks 1, strikes out 2. So
it's too bad that Cole Ramage's outing meant nothing, because that would have been a good choice.
Yeah, I think it was good for Cole Ramage. I went with Vermillion because I think that he proved himself. Just like Zac Gregory, I think that both of them proved that they can be trusted.
Sure, I'll buy it. And the obvious choice is Connor Noland. 7 shutout innings once again. Gave up a hit, erased on a caught stealing, gave up a walk, struck out 7 through 97 pitches. So he did not hit his 100-pitch mark, which is probably a little bit of a relief to him. I mean, like we talked about earlier, comparing him to the past 3 Razorback aces, dude is living up to expectations, surpassing them, and very, very quietly, it seems like, somehow. I just don't know how it's possible, but it seems like he's very quietly having a great year. ERA is now under 3. You probably don't win that game without him, because as we saw the next day, the starts just weren't outstanding. So
Yeah.
the one outstanding start goes to Connor Noland, and for that, he is the weekend MVP on the mound.
Weekend MVPs brought to you by the Encore Group. You know our friends at the Encore Group at RE/MAX Elite. That is Matt Grissom and his team. They have plenty of experience selling homes for top dollar in the shortest amount of time. Robert, I'm going to ask you the question. Do you know what sets them apart from their competition?
They go above and beyond in multiple areas, I'm pretty sure.
They do. They help you get your home show ready. They hire professional video and photography people. They create custom signage, and they do much more to go above and beyond to market your home. Don't settle for a bunt unless you're Zac Gregory. Then you can settle for a bunt because he's a master bunter. That's my thing.
True story, it is your thing.
He's a master bunter. When it comes to selling your home, call the Encore Group for a Grand Slam experience. I bet Gregory could hit a Grand Slam if he had bases loaded.
He probably could, but
3 home runs in the past 2 weekends.
I mean, who were we talking about needs an NIL deal with him?
Oh,
It's
Braden
Braden Webb.
Braden
Because
Webb, yeah.
he'll show and then pull back and then hit one 440 feet. So.
Yeah. For more information or to receive a free property valuation proposal, visit sellingarkansas.com. Thank you to the Grissom team for sponsoring Weekend MVPs. And if you're trying to sell your home, you need to go to the Encore Group. Matt Grissom and his team, they do it better than anybody. Okay. Look around the SEC before we go. Before you start, Robert, Joseph Gonzalez threw a complete game for Auburn today.
Against Vanderbilt?
Against Vanderbilt, and Auburn won the series.
Yes, Auburn did win the series. Vanderbilt, man, what's going on? What is Vandy's record? Vandy is 5-7 in league play through 4 weekends. They were 16th in the rankings, I think, this week. Probably going to fall even further because of that now. That's tough. And I mean, you look at the West here. We are recording this as the LSU Mississippi State series is wrapping up, but the Tigers are up 10 runs in the 9th. At Starkville, and they're about to sweep that series. So LSU and Auburn are tied at 7-5. That's 1 game behind the Razorbacks. So we have got a huge series coming up this weekend.
Wow.
At Baum Walker.
Mississippi State's about to be 18-15.
Yeah, they're about to be 4-8 in league play. That's dead last in the conference, 4 games back. The SEC West is tight right now because you've got, I mean, you think about it in the East, Tennessee swept again, so they're 12-0, which is just absurd. Missouri's 9 games behind them in 7th place, but things are much tighter in the West. As of this very moment, Alabama is up 3-0 on Ole Miss. That score holds. The Tide will sweep the Rebels. That'll be the 2nd time this year the Rebels have been swept at Swayze.
Wow.
And if that's the case, then you'll have 3 teams tied at 7-5, 1 game behind Arkansas. A&M 2 games back at 6-6, and the 2 Mississippi schools hanging out in the cellar at 4-8. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought, man? Ole Miss is still number 9. I mean, they're going to drop for sure if they lose.
They've already lost the series. If they get swept, then they're falling big time.
Alabama's at 4-2 now. I think it was just 3-2 when you said that. They scored a run.
I was looking at 3-0, refreshed it. Now it's 4-2.
Okay.
SEC website is not like the most up to date for baseball.
Okay. Georgia beat South Carolina. They're 24-8 on the year. Good for Georgia.
They're in 2nd in the East, I want to say. Yep, 4 games. 4 games, which is the difference between 1st and 7th in the West, is the difference between 1st and 2nd in the East.
Yeah, because Tennessee is just a machine right now. They're 31-1, 23-0 at home, 6-0 on the road. Their 1 loss came in a neutral site.
To Texas?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I mean it's crazy. The thing is, Arkansas's got LSU in Fayetteville this weekend. That's a big series, especially now that Arkansas lost to Florida.
Yeah, because the Tigers picked up 2 games on them. They swept Mississippi State, and Arkansas dropped 2 of 3.
So LSU will be what, 7-5? Arkansas is 8-4 in conference play.
Correct.
So this is basically, depending on what Auburn does, 4 tops in the SEC West.
Well, right, and you have to factor in Bama too. There will be a 3-way tie at 7-5 if the Rebels get swept.
Wow. Okay.
If the Tide sweeps the Rebels.
Tide sweeps. Okay. Wow.
Which, of course, you will know when you're listening to this.
Who would have guessed that this is how the SEC would be playing out right now?
Not me.
This is crazy.
I can't believe that both Ole Miss and Mississippi State are going to be sitting at
I know
4-8 and then in the basement.
Yeah, and they'll have, let's see, so is the Mississippi State game? Oh, so Mississippi State will have 15 losses. Ole Miss will have 12. That'll be 27 losses between the two of them.
Wow. How many wins do the Razorbacks have?
Arkansas has 23.
That's pretty close.
Wait, what?
The total number of Razorback wins almost is not even the number of Mississippi losses between State and Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss needs to pick it up because that series in Fayetteville, I mean, it's still going to be packed, but it would be so much better if Ole Miss was good. It would.
We shall see.
We shall see. You have anything else to add? I mean, we do need to do another ad read before we go.
Oh gosh, I don't know. We'll hit on the schedule. 5 days and five games and 5 days coming up.
Oh my gosh,
that'll be something. But rain in the forecast Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, I really hope it rains because we still have to do the podcast too. Okay, I'm gonna do barley and vine this time. Okay, barley and vine. We had a great time at the watch party. We had some Bentonville Brewing Company IPAs, the home wreckers. Maybe a few too many, maybe not. That is for you to decide what you think. But they were $2, so that's how it went. And we're thankful to the people that showed up. And if you weren't able to make it, I know it was a Thursday night. It was 5 o'clock. You know, you got work the next day. We're going to try to get it to where we can get a Friday slot next time, maybe a Saturday. We'll see what we can do. But very thankful for them for letting us come out and watch the game there. We had some great food from the First Seat, Barley and Vine, First Seat, same owners, so we're not giving free shout-outs here. So great time over at 113 West Central Avenue, Suite 103 in downtown Bentonville. Plenty of craft beers. They got wine, everything you want at Barley and Vine.
Yes, so thanks to Barley and Vine for their sponsorship and to Toll Sports Management, new sponsor. They represent athletes looking to make their mark both on and off the field. From the NCAA to Major League Baseball, Toll Sports Management knows what it takes for full athlete representation, branding, and marketing at every level. Mackenzie Toll, the founder and athlete agent, currently represents 5 Razorbacks, including Michael Turner, Braden Webb, her brother Heston Toll, Isaac Bracken, and Matthew Magre. Toll Sports Management has partnered with a manufacturing design company for each player to use their name, image, and likeness to create personalized apparel. Hog fans can find that at redismycolor.com. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't know why it says that. It's storefrontier.com/tollsports. That's where you're going to find the shirts. I guess, so like I clicked on the link that says redismycolor.com and it took me there. But I feel like it's better to say storefrontier.com/tollsports.
There you go. Okay. Storefrontier.com/tollsports. It's where you can find some pretty cool Razorback player shirts and koozies. They've got koozies too. So purchasing your favorite player's gear not only supports them athletically, but financially as well, because each player receives a percentage of the sales. Toll Sports Management, represent, educate, and create.
Very thankful to our sponsors. All right. Let's look ahead to what we got going on this week.
It's a big week.
Very, very busy week. And, you know, we thought getting interviews was hard when there were days off. We might not have an interview again, but we'll
have to talk to somebody from LSU.
We're trying our best, guys. We're trying our best. So Tuesday, Wednesday, you get UAPB. Those are just going to be absolute dominant, like, blowout games.
May have to up the over-under to 25 runs this time.
Yeah, so 6:30 Tuesday, 4 Wednesday. Robert, you got a
weather update here?
Yeah.
So Tuesday you're looking at partly cloudy, high of 80. So that one could be nice. But then 80% chance of thunderstorms on Wednesday, high of 68. So honestly, wouldn't be that upset if the second of 2 games with the Golden Lions, right?
Yeah.
is postponed.
I would be okay with that.
Thursday, you got big old sun icon with a high of 67, low of 37. Maybe it gets cold there at the end of that ball game. Looks like a 40% chance of rain on Friday for Game 2 against LSU. And then partly cloudy, high of 71 Saturday. That's a day game. And then enjoy your Easter on Sunday. No ball game.
I know.
What were those start times for LSU?
Thursday, 6:30, Friday, 6, and Saturday, 2. Those are all Central Time.
All Central Time.
Yes.
And any of them on the network?
Friday's game is on the network, which is good. I will not be at Friday's game, celebrating Passover with the family, but I'll be at Saturday and Thursday, and gonna be a big series. Should be a lot of people there, especially if there's good weather. So, anything else you want to add, Mr. Stewart? By the way, everybody out there, don't forget at Robert on Twitter at drstew32. Tell him what he needs to apologize for. It could just be because he said Cole Ramage was bad, or it could be for whatever your heart desires. It's at drstew32 on Twitter, and I will retweet it if it's within the limits of Robert will not get fired from any job for it. Okay.
All in good fun, please, I beg of you.
Okay. We will talk to everybody on Thursday because the series starts on Thursday. Okay, bye.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs Podcast.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at drstew32.